to Daytona. Did a so.
Would you please be seated? Thank you. At this time, we will call our meeting to order. And if everyone would like to stand up, we're going to do the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You may be seated. Deanne, will you call the roll, please?
Commissioner McCall asked to be excused. Commissioner Hanna.
Here.
Commissioner Vaughn.
Here.
Vice Mayor Hausberg.
Here.
Mayor Kennedy.
Here, thank you. We'll start off with our presentations tonight is the Pinellas Suncoast. We're going to start off with the Sheriff's Department. If you'd like to come forward first.
Good evening. My name is Corporal David Brown with the Pinellas County Sheriff's Office. For this evening, I will be presenting the Uniform Crime Reporting, Property and Person Crime Statistics for the City of Indian Rocks Beach for the period of July 2022. For the period of July 2022 in the City of Indian Rocks Beach, we had 1 motor vehicle theft, 1 larceny, 5 assaults, and 1 sexual offense. In reference to the listed crimes, go into a little detail in reference to the sexual offense. The investigation is closed per the request of the victim. From the investigation, it does not appear either party has connections to the City of Indian Rocks Beach. However, they are Pinellas County locals, and no arrests were made in this case. In reference to the assaults, assault number 1 was in reference to a domestic battery between a father and a son, non-Indian Rocks Beach residents, local visitors, and arrest was made. Assault number 2 is going to be a domestic battery between husband and wife, which were out-of-state visitors, and arrest was made. Assault number 3, non-resident transient, in reference to a disorderly intox and threats toward law enforcement, and arrest was made in this case. Assault number 4 is going to be a non-resident visitor. It was an aggravated battery between a boyfriend and a girlfriend. It was aggravated due to the girlfriend being pregnant at the time, and an arrest was made. And assault number 5 is going to be a non-resident visitor, a domestic battery between a husband and a wife, and an arrest was made in this case. The vehicle burglary was in reference to the area of 12th Avenue and Gulf Boulevard. A non-resident visitor, forced entry was made to the driver door of the vehicle, and the case was closed per the request of the victim. And then the last was a vehicle theft. Again, a non-resident visitor of Indian Rocks Beach left their key inside the vehicle, and the vehicle was recovered the same day. Also in Pinellas County, no arrest was made in this case. For July 2022, there were a total of 15 subjects arrested within the City of Indian Rocks Beach, and a total of 21 charges. So 1 subject may have been arrested for multiple charges. That's why there's a difference between the amount of subjects versus the amount of charges. There were a total of 1,279 events in the City of Indian Rocks Beach during the month of July, resulting in 1,685 units responding. In reference to the events, this does include self-initiated activities such as traffic stops, directed patrols, and business checks. There were 8 crashes reported in the City of Indian Rocks Beach during July of 2022, and there were a total of 308 citations and warning issued in the City of Indian Rocks Beach during July of 2022. And that is it for the statistical reporting. Do you have any questions for me?
Does anyone have any questions? Any commissioners questions tonight? No. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Chief Mortellite, you'd like to come up?
Good evening.
Good evening.
Chief Morley, Deputy Chief, Pinellas Suncoast Fire Rescue. I'm going to do the same thing, just going to share some stats, a reminder from August, I'm sorry. We ran 59 calls for service in the month. Average response time to all these calls was 4 minutes and 31 seconds. Of those calls, 4 of them were water rescues, 2 vehicle crashes, we had 1 trauma alert that was a result of stabbing, and we had 1 structure fire. Chief wanted me to mention a couple other things that happened this past month. Just this past Sunday, September 11th, we had our first annual memorial walk. We had that up in Bel Air Beach. We had about 85 people that showed up to walk with us. We walked about, the total distance was 4 miles, measured out due to the crosswalks. But at 3.43 miles, we stopped and held a moment of silence for all the first responders that passed away in September 11th through the terror attacks. So that was good. We actually, Chief made the news on that. And then he wanted to make sure that I mentioned September 19th, so next Monday, 6 p.m. right here. We're going to be holding a public forum. We'll be here to speak on the very important issue that will be on the November ballot regarding our fire departments.
Say one more time what the date of that is.
September 19th, so I believe it's next Monday,
Right.
6 p.m.
16.
Thank you.
Any questions, Chief?
Yeah, what can you tell me about the stabbing?
I'm sorry?
The stabbing?
The stabbing occurred on or near the PSTA bus. The law enforcement was there. I know that there was an arrest made. The victim ended up being a trauma alert, taken down to Bayfront.
Just a thing?
I'm sorry?
Just a thing? People
Just,
stabbing people?
yeah. So it was a result of an altercation. That's
Was it a small stab or a big stab?
the individual that was stabbed with a small wooden object. So it was significant enough that punctured his lung and ended up going to Bayfront. So.
They weren't residents, they were
No.
from the bus.
No, ma'am.
All right, anything else?
Cookie,
Yes.
if I can, just
Yes, I'd like
so there's
to.
not a misconception.
Yes, I would like to.
The incident started on a transit bus. The bus driver ordered them off the bus. Part of the group that was involved in it were intoxicated. 2 of them were transits. They got off the bus and then proceeded to fight again, and one person stabbed another person with like a little wooden skewer thing, like you put on a shabbat kind of thing. That's what it was. There was no IRD folks, and it's a whole thing that started on the bus, and they were ordered off, and it led into something else.
Thank you. Thank you, Chief. At this time, we have a special presentation tonight, and if our previous Vice Mayor Ed Hoffman would come up to the center, I would appreciate it. So we have a very special tonight. One of our previous commissioners at Hoffman, who I adore. The first time I ran for mayor, Ed ran for commissioner, and he was a commissioner for 6 years. We appreciate you so much. Some of you may not know, but Ed has been a businessman for 42 years. He got his BS at Syracuse. And he has been a tremendous advocate for the city, but also a volunteer. He has done so much work, he and his wife. As soon as they moved here, they became involved. They're involved in Action 2000, the Art Center. What else am I missing?
There's a lot there.
And restored a house that back to what it looked like originally back in the early 1900s to how it looked then, and even so much as the floor. So we really appreciate all of what you've done. I hope one of these days you'll be back with us up here. And I just would like you to have this, a plaque, and it's basically who you are, your selfless dedication and service to our community. And I appreciate you so much, and so does everybody else.
That really means a lot.
You guys want to come down with it if you can? Sure. Come on down.
Okay. I don't have to go back if I want.
No, you can keep it.
Ready? Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Ed. With that, we will move on to public comments. Any member of the audience may come forward, give their name and address, and state any comment or concern that they may have regarding any matter over which the City Commission has control, excluding agenda items. All statements made to the City Commission shall be made to the City Commission as a whole, not directed to any individual City Commission member, and no personal or slanderous remarks shall be permitted. No speaker shall be interrupted, and no debate shall take place between the speaker and the City Commission, and you will have 3 minutes. At this time, is there anyone who'd like to come forward?
Hi, my name is Scotty Vaughn. I reside at 301 Harbor Drive. And I'm going to read a letter from one of my neighbors, Jerry Newton, who resides at 438 Harbor Drive North. This is going to go a little over 3 minutes, but not much. But hopefully I can combine my time with his. I don't know if we can do that, or if I need to get space. I'll just go. I'm unfortunately not able to attend the upcoming commission meeting on September the 13th, but felt it is important to share my serious concerns regarding short-term rentals in our city. Please share this letter with our city representatives and interested parties and read it in public at the September commission meeting. As I've stated before, I feel that this uncontrolled issue is poisoning our city and causing serious doubt whether Indian Rocks Beach is a good place to live and raise our family. I call it a malignant cancer that is eating up the character of our city from the inside out. We have all heard the sad story of how we got here and what we could or should have done to avoid this disaster, but no matter how many times we hear that, there is nothing we can do. We do not believe it. When I say we, I truly believe I am speaking for the majority of Indian Rocks residents. I have made a point to gain opinions on short-term rentals in our city from neighbors close and far, and I am yet to find a resident who is in favor of this rampant, unregulated situation we are experiencing. I venture to say the only citizens that are in favor might be those who have chosen profit over principle and have joined the problem by investing in their own short-term rental real estate. You will soon know that there is a grassroots effort in process that will explore every avenue in order to save our neighborhoods and our homes. Our city cannot be considered an easy place to set up a short-term rental business, and that's exactly what it is today. Does everyone realize that the fee to maintain short-term rental business permits in our city is $15 a year and a one-time 5-minute form to start? This fee doesn't even cover the copy machine. Let's set a licensing fee in the $500 range, commensurate with the task of managing this issue. Are all these businesses in possession of Florida Department of Revenue certificates and properly paying their tourist development tax, sales tax, and transient rental tax on every dollar of revenue? A quick Saturday morning walk proves that there are homes listed online that display no required exterior STR sign and are not even licensed with our city, not to mention with the state. How many of these businesses are claiming homestead exemptions? How can we monitor this? Is our system of accountability? We can see how many times a resident has been in violation of noise, garbage, occupancy, or parking regulations. Are the fines for these infractions substantial enough to initiate for initial and repeat offenders to be taken seriously by the landlords? Are we inspecting these businesses for code conformance, safety issues such as fire extinguishers, railings, fire exits, ADA compliance? Yes, this can be done. These regular and required inspections should be funded by the property owner, collected and monitored by the city and fire department. Every legitimate retailer, hotel, and restaurant has to do all these things and so many more, and then jump through hoops and meet monumental requirements in order to operate in our city. Why are these businesses in our residential neighborhoods not required to operate under the same regulation and scrutiny as every other business in our city? Do you know that there are homes right near you advertising for 16 people and parking for 8 cars? Hundreds are listed for 10 guests or more. I believe the city can require copies of all these contracts. Who is monitoring this? A legal screw-up 10 years ago got us into this mess, and I believe it can get us out. We need to stop making it easy to operate a hotel next to our family. My wife and I built our forever home on Indian Rocks Beach, but we didn't buy into this. Our son and his 3 children were interested in building a home on the water, and we recently recommended to him not to build in Indian Rocks Beach. It's important to note that Indian Rocks Beach will be electing 2 commissioners in March of 2023. Let's be sure we choose people who understand the importance of this issue and who will work with the remaining commissioners to lead and support every cause that may result in a resolution. We are intelligent people. We have a problem. We can figure this out if we brainstorm, unite, and take action. Legal, technical, procedural, regulatory. Please, please, let's all vow to do whatever we need to do to recover from this cancerous situation.
Thank you, Scott. Is there anyone else who'd like to come up this time? Yes, ma'am.
Following up on what she had to say, and,
State your name.
oh,
and your
sorry,
address. That's okay.
Kimberly Beer, 2003 Bayview Place, Indian Rocks Beach.
Cookie, I didn't hear her.
Kimberly,
Beer,
speaking to the microphone, Kim.
Beer,
There you go.
I didn't get the address.
What's your address, Kim?
2003 Bayview Place.
Thank you.
We also have multiple Airbnbs and rentals by our house, and they are noisy. They park blocking streets. There's multiple cars on the streets. They're rude to the neighbors that say, can you turn the music down, and give them nasty comments. And the neighbor will say, well, then I will get somebody to turn the music down. There's been multiple police calls to these homes. And they are also renting 5 bedrooms with 16, 20 people, they say. And there's not enough parking there. Like she said, there has to be a way to get around this. In some other towns, what they have done is on the beach side, they will rent for 3, 4, 7, whatever days. But on the inland side, like the inland side of Gulf Boulevard, make it a minimum of 30-day rentals. I don't know who can do this, Congress, the congressman, the county, you guys. One suggestion was to have, for the parking, was have residential parking only at night and have city stickers on the cars. Also, this big house by us that, goes up to 20 people, I've only seen 1 garbage can and 1 recycling. And in this one page that I was reading about laws and stuff, that they should have enough garbage, bins and stuff for the number of people that are there. I don't know, and about the inspections, which she talked about. It's just becoming a big problem, and we just think that there should be a way that we can fix this. Can we associate our street or something, make it so we can make rules and regulations for our area or something like that? I don't know. There's gotta be some, like a gated community. And these are corporations that are renting out residential. I thought businesses couldn't be in residential areas. I have one other thing too. Have they done anything about the crosswalk at that Krabby Bill's intersection there by the Holiday Inn, where it backs up off?
When you come up, Kimberly, before us, we can't answer your questions at that time. We just have to get all your information, but if you have a question about something like that,
Yeah.
we'll make sure that the city manager reaches out to you as far
Okay.
as that, okay?
All right, and then one other comment I have about the golf carts. I've seen young people, younger than, they look like they're 12-year-olds, driving golf carts on the streets, and I've seen a mother
driving a golf cart, holding an infant. And I don't know, I just think there should be more attention to some of the problems in this city. That's all, thank you.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone else who'd like to come up at this time?
Dan Doherty, 317 Harbor Drive. I hope it is not lost on the committee. I find it to be quite ironic that you sit under a sign that says it's the world's safest beach. And the inaction in allowing these short-term rentals to take over our beautiful place is putting that very statement at risk every single day. I hope you all noted when we heard from the police and fire, we were not hearing about violence and crimes committed by Indian Rocks Beach residents, but rather we were hearing about visitors and transients and short-term renters. And I think from the other comments that were made tonight, we're asking that no stone be left unturned. Whether it's through regulation, litigation, inspection, commitment to policing this ever-growing problem. You don't want to be left as being the people that watched over the tipping point, where good citizens and people committed to this community find that there's no other choice but to leave, as we've already begun to see neighbors do just that. And so it's easy to find excuses and reasons and difficulties and challenges, but you need to have the courage and the conviction, and most importantly, the integrity to take this issue on and to fight. And yes, it's going to cost money, and it will be contentious, and there will be litigation, but we cannot be afraid of defending what is ours. This is our community, and we need to fight for it and make sure it's the community that has the people building and living and growing families, their forever homes, and making this a place we can all be proud of. Thank you.
Matt Loader, 401 Gulf Boulevard, Krabby Bills. And I live in Seminole, and we're dealing with, I have a homeowners association, we're dealing with the same thing with short-term rentals. And at the risk of saying anything and pissing off somebody, because I normally would find myself not wanting to do it, I'm the president of the homeowners association there. And it is challenging being the president of the homeowners association, because you have to manage the law, you have to manage the residents, the people who like it, the people who don't. And it is a tightrope walking it. And it may be in the best interest of the community and the citizens of the community to go ahead and to get together their group and to go ahead and try and come up with an alternative, because there are certain things in your position as commissioners you can and cannot do, because you have to follow the laws. And same thing with me as a homeowners president, I have to go ahead and make sure that I'm representing all the community with the laws that are there. If I don't do that, then I can be in violation of somebody's rights, and it's the same thing. So maybe it's in the best interest of the community to go ahead and come up with a group that can go ahead and pursue what their needs are. And I agree, we don't want short-term rentals in our neighborhood in Seminole, but we have to do it right, or else we'll have a legal challenge and it becomes a nightmare. And then it only makes more people angry. And as a homeowners association president, I get people angry with me over the situation, but I think it might be something that the public ought to consider, is to go ahead, and I would help with that if I can with the folks here. Thank you.
Is there anyone else who'd like to come up at this time?
Good evening. John Fansteel, 448 Harbor Drive South. I'll start off, I want to go back to short-term rental, but first I want to do something I hate to say, and that is a former commissioner of Indian Rocks Beach died last month. Jim Palomera succumbed to illnesses he was fighting for years. And as some of you know, Jim was at times rough, He spoke slowly. He was Italian with a New York accent, but he was a formidable force for Indian Rocks Beach. And I'll share just one example on this. I'm sure you all, many of you might know other ones. Of several years ago at a fire commission meeting, the fire commissioners were trying to sneak through a really deceitful referendum. So the lawyer read it quickly, and Jim stood up and said, "I don't understand it." He said, "Give me a copy of it." And he goes, "Oh, we don't have a copy of it." He goes, "Yeah, you did. You just read it." So he went over, took the paper out of their hand, photographed it with his cell phone, came back and read it. And he goes, "I don't understand this. You say twice that you're reducing taxes, but you're increasing taxes, right?" Anyways, that was Jim was like. He was perceptive, he was street smart, and he was fearless. So it's a loss for our community. Turning back to short-term rentals, I've spoken with everybody individually, and everybody seems committed to taking this problem on. Here's 3 specific things, and I'll send them in an email too that you can consider. First, hire specialized counsel to look at our lost grandfather status. Kelly found that there was a 2019 AG opinion that said that if you only made small changes, if you didn't change duration or frequency in your zoning, you could retain your grandfather's status. So we want to look at that carefully. We also want to find out if there's loopholes or procedural errors. Some of you might remember that we were able to claw back recreational use of a couple of our bays through procedural errors. I might recommend somebody to take a look at that, and that is Jay from Randy's law firm. He's big on home rule. Second thing, spearheading an effort to convince other cities to join and fund a lobbyist to fight for home rule. The opponents have lots of lobbyists up there, but we have to make every individual in there, including our representatives, know that there is a significant number of people that are going to be loud and angry when they try to take rights away from you and give it to big government up in Tallahassee. And a third thing, which has already been talked about a little bit, is making IRB less attractive for transient rentals. One example is require annual inspections, which you can do through your ordinance, and charge a few $100s, perhaps more, and do them annually. You'll have to hire somebody else, probably, but make them pay for that. And I guess that increasing the annual fee from $10 to $100, $200, whatever. So, as been said before, we need bold action now, or Indian Rocks Beach will no longer be a place for residents. It'll devolve into a tourist town. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jim. Hi, Don.
Don House, 2104 Beach Trail. So the first thing I'd say is I've always lived in part of the town that allows overnight rentals. The whining that I'm hearing, welcome to the club. You have to deal with it. We have to address it. Part of it that happened, I totally believe one of the commissioners, still on the commission, instigated this. And I wish that we could look at it in depth to see how that was and maybe remove him from the city commission, because this is what happened. When I don't know if y'all know or not, but I wanted to run for mayor this year because, and by the way, somebody owes somebody a steak dinner. I don't know if it's me or Cookie, because I was going to run for mayor, but one of the cards got turned down. So either me or Cookie owes either Gordon or our Deanne a steak dinner to keep that election from happening, because I was going to have fun. Probably wouldn't have won, but anyway, it would have been fun. But anyway, there's a lot of things that are going on in the city that aren't being addressed because there's the cult mentality, that's what I always say. Anyway, so when you get back to short-term rentals, there are a lot of things that can be done. I had a list of 10 things that I was going to address on short-term rentals because there are a problem. They're even there on Beach Trail from places that were they don't address the issues that happen every night. So when y'all start complaining about short-term rentals, get somebody that knows what happens, because we live with it every night. Every night, we have short-term rentals there. So, anyway, so let's go from there, and I don't know, somebody's gonna go to steak dinner somewhere. All right, thank you.
Is there anyone else who'd like to speak at this time? Hearing none, I'm gonna, no, you're fine. Fine.
Hi, my name is Kelly Watt. I live at 431 Harbor Drive South, and just would also like to raise the issue that we've been talking about, the short-term rentals. We're a neighbor of Phil. Phil knows there are so many in our neighborhood. Unfortunately,
Can you hear me now? Is that better?
yes. So we have so many right by our house, and it's been really sad to see neighbors that have been here for a long time that have left specifically because of the short-term rentals. One of our neighbors had one of the visitors drunken go up to his house, try to get into his bedroom, sliding doors, and that pretty much cinched it for him when he moved. And that sort of caused a cascade where we have, I've lost track, is there 8 short-term rentals just right by our house? And you completely lose the feel of having a neighborhood. And I just don't want, you guys have fought so hard to keep Indian Rocks Beach this wonderful old town, old Florida beach. I grew up on Florida Beach and seeing what has happened there. I just don't want that to happen here. So if there's anything we can do, anything, of course it's legitimate and appropriate and we'll take some fighting, but, enforcing our laws, making sure, maybe we need a committee to see through some other things that we can do. One of the small little things is I noticed there's real estate signs in the yard that advertise those short-term rentals now. And I think the sign ordinance is up for review. And that to me is advertising an ongoing business versus selling a home, right? And so short-term rentals are businesses, and it seems like we should treat those differently instead of having those signs out front, 365 days a year, maybe we can limit the duration on those. As well as what we said earlier, the fees, the inspections. Could we look at occupancies or anything we can do with the fire department or Pinellas County to try to address that? And I do think we need to somehow join with the Big C. The lobbyist idea is a great idea. We're gonna have to get some help because we can't fix it by ourselves. We just gotta make Tallahassee hear us and give us back our rights. And it's an uphill battle, but I think we just have to try. So thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Cindy Hammer. I live at 459 Harbor Drive North. I wonder if you have ever had someone, as you're sitting in your living room, open your front door, walk in while you're sitting on your couch. I have. Have you ever looked outside to find your entire front porch covered with Target grocery bags? I have twice. Have you ever had to deliver those groceries to the right address? Have you ever had to clean up all of the debris from the trash cans across the street and then take the trash cans in twice a week? I have. I've lived in that address for 18 years, and it just started with everything. It's important. It needs to be changed.
Is there anyone else at this time who'd like to speak? Hearing none, I will close the public comment, and we will move on to reports of the city attorney. Tonight, sitting in for Randy Mora, we have Nancy.
Yes, I have no report except to say it's nice to be here. Thank you.
Okay. And from there, I'll go to our city manager, Greg Mims.
Thank you. August 22nd Code Enforcement Report. One, notice to remove in-ground tanks, and that's the gas station at Fifth and Boulevard. We've actively been working on that property for 4 or 5 years, and that's our latest effort to try to encourage the property owners to move that along. 2 overgrown lawns, one inoperable vehicle. 9 trash recycling cart violations, 1 VRBO sign violations. There were 100 notices to appear, 1 property non-compliant, and 1 VRBO trash violation. The code division issued 74 parking citations, and that does not include the earlier report of the sheriff's office. At our last meeting, we talked about the beach and cigarettes and beach trash, those kind of things. As a result of that discussion, we've implemented a kind of new PR campaign to hopefully get some people's attention. And one of the changes we're going to make for the new budget is the metal mesh cans that are on the beach, where you throw your just regular garbage in. We're going to pull those and put hard side plastic cans like the recycling cans. And part of the reason, 2 parts of that reason is, 1, the mesh cans, sometimes if the materials fall, blow around, blow out, they won't do this with the new cans. And we're also going to put the new logo on the side of the cans, so that'll be something you'll see. The second final budget public hearing is Wednesday, September the 21st at 6 p.m. We had our first one about a week ago. The American Rescue Plan funds, the city was allocated about $2 million under that program. About a week ago, we received our second and final payment of a little over $1 million to the city that's been put in the account. And we'll talk about this in a minute, but that $2 million has been allocated for 3 drainage projects in the Harbor Drive area that we went over and we talked about the last meeting. I met last week with Duke Energy. Duke Energy is going to be doing an underground utility project, Central Avenue, which is on the south end of our city. They're going to they're going to bore under the intercoastal waterway and run a line, and it'll come up at Central Avenue. And it's part of their efforts to have a loop system in the city, so if we have power outages, there's more power available. There's no really not anything involved with the city on that other than where the bore will come up via the central beach access. Beach access at some point in the future would be closed, probably 5 or 6 days while they bring that line up. So that's a good project for the city. Civil Serve is the city's designated engineer. When we updated the drainage study, the commission authorized to use Civil Serve to do that updated study. What my plans are with Civil Service now that they've completed the updated drainage study is the project 1, 2, and 3 that we talked about at the last meeting, is that my intentions are just to use Civil Service, because they're already under contract with the city, to do the final designs and to handle the bidding of those projects. And I just wanted to mention that to the commission to make sure that y'all didn't have any concerns or any questions about that. We obviously will save money by doing that because they're the ones that did the initial study, so it just makes sense to use them to finish them out. Recycling. On August the 16th, I sent Waste Connections, which is our recycling contractor, a letter requesting a 2-year extension on our contract. It was initially for 4 years, and there were 2 2-year extension provisions in the contract that we have with them. They've received it. We're still waiting on a response, but there's an update. The city of Madeira Beach received bids, and just within the last few days, for recycling. Our contractor bid $12 per household per month. We pay $6 per month per household. The low bid for Madeira Beach was $10, so most likely if the low bidder has all their paperwork together, if Madeira goes through with renewing recycling, they're going to be paying $10 a month. But that's wanted to emphasize that our company that we pay $6 bid $12 in Madeira Beach. So in light of that, Mayor, what I've asked for is at the October City Commission meeting that we have a work session on to discuss recycling, because I believe by that date I'll have their response to the extension of the contract. And they've already indicated, I sent y'all, I forwarded emails to y'all, they've already indicated that they can't live with or abide by the $6 a month, that it's going to go up. I don't know if they want to go up to the $12 or some number in between, but we need to have a discussion about it, because I think I'll be in a position by then to do that. So that's an update on recycling. Obviously, if we even went to $10 a month per household from 6, that's a pretty big hit. So like I said, by then we'll have all the numbers we need. What I intend to do is, we send out postcards and newsletters and things pretty frequently. Is what I intend to do, if it's okay with the commission, to have that work session in October, is that I'm going to ask staff to prepare a postcard that'll go to every property owner inside the city, so everybody will be aware that we're going to be having discussions about recycling, because we're going to be on a time schedule where, depending on the information that we have, when we present to you, the commission's going to have to give us guidance about what direction we're going on recycling. So that's an update on that. But I'll be happy to answer any other questions you have.
Is everybody in agreement to the meeting, for the work session?
Yes.
Any other questions for the city manager at this time?
When you said they agreed to, so there's a 2-year extension that was available, but they may not agree to it?
Yeah, it's both parties have to agree to the extension. So well, the same thing, we could have given notice at any time we got out of the recycling contract. So per the contract, we gave notice, they received it, and I expect, like I said, well before the October meeting, as soon as I get it, I'll send you what I have, is that they're going to give us a number that they believe they have to have if we want it, if the commissioner wants to extend it. But I just wanted to give you the real world numbers that, because Madera Beach just went through this process and did that, that's what they came back with.
And after they get back to us, when do we have to tell them what we think?
Our contract with the Waste Connection, it runs out on the end of December. So, but we would need to tell them soon. We would need to tell them, well, you have to give 6 days notice to renew, and we've done that. But we would need to give them notice pretty soon about, what our intentions are. And if we can't agree to the new term, as in the $1 per household amount, then what we have to do is turn around and do like Madera Beach. If you want to continue recycling, we have to turn around and put out of course, for proposals for bids and some kind of numbers we get. But we're in the same market, so you can expect to get about those same prices for that.
What if we went to like every other week?
I brought that up after the last meeting.
Yeah.
I sat down with Dan and Dean, and we were just brainstorming about, exactly what you said. What if we did pick up every other week, and we called and had a call with the recycling company, and they're not interested in doing that for a lot of different reasons. But because logic would say if we amended our contract and we went to every other week, which most recycling residents in the city could deal with that.
Yeah.
But they're not willing to do that.
Yes.
We ever determined that they're not going down to dropping it on the pad at St. Pete and picking it up and hauling it right out, we're paying a no end?
Well, we had after the budget work session, I asked Dean to set up a meeting, and Dean and Dan and I met with the government representative of Waste Connections, and their recycle numbers don't match what the county's recycle numbers are. Our company claims a higher percentage of the materials that are actually recycled.
Right.
We don't, be honest with you, we don't buy that. We don't buy their percentage. The county's number is about 60% that's not recycled. And we can do all the education we want, but when our recycling is loaded in that truck, we talked about all this loading in, dumped on that concrete pad, it gets contaminated with everybody else's, and then they load it back up and they take it to the landfill, and they burn it, which is, I said before, a form of recycling. They turn power out of it. And one of the things that I did confirm with them, again, we talked about this at the work session, is that, living in RV for all the years that I did, is that if you want to look at what your neighbors are taking during the week, look at their recycling cans, and people are real passionate about, people that recycle are passionate about it, but we have a lot of residents that throw their glass, which is an approved listed recycling thing, in their trash can, that all the glass is separated out and taken to Sarasota, Florida, the recycling company that we're in a contract with, they have to pay to dispose of glass because there's absolutely no market in the United States for glass. It's about zero. But I think that probably answered.
Yeah, you answered, but with that said, the question I have is, if you took the alternate week concept, could we, as a city, do our own recycling? I know we got the special cans at one time, we talked about that might be
No,
potential.
we have nowhere to take it. You know,
But I guess what I'm saying, we couldn't recycle it, since it goes down and gets contaminated, we're paying the middleman to take it to the dump, to burn it. Can't our people take it? I'm just asking, I don't know.
yeah, if we took it straight to the landfill and backed up and dumped it and they generate power out of it, you know, we pay 4 times the price for
tipping fee
recycling.
Oh, okay.
Through the company.
Oh, yeah.
But if we, some of it, all of it, whatever, we took ourselves to the landfill, we'd save a huge amount of money. Potentially, what we're looking at here is, you know, whether you look at the $10 a month per household or the 12,
right.
You're looking at us spending $500,000 a year just on recycling, when we know that at least half of it, just to be conservative, say half of it is not being recycled. It's been taken off.
So the possibility of us actually doing it even for all our weeks, all the 2 weeks out of the month, is a possibility?
I don't think the recycling company would agree with that. One of the reasons why when we pitched that idea to them is that as a company, they've obligated staff and trucks
to
certain areas, and you know, either they're obligated to that amount of equipment and staff to service us, or they're not. So they're not going to agree.
So if we pay to get out of the contract, we're pay probably a lot more to get out for the time period we have left remaining in the contract.
No, we talked about this in the work session. If we kept the contract and we kept it to, like, I think it was January of next year, we're zeroed out, and then we don't owe them anything for the trash cans. You know, when we did the contract, it was a graduated fee thing where it dropped down every year. And that really runs out around January. So if something didn't work out and we had to get out of it, by the time we get out of it, we virtually are not going to owe them any money for that part of the contract.
I'm just trying to look for an alternative. If it's just going down and getting contaminated, and we're paying them to take it to the dump, why don't we take it direct and save the money?
Yeah.
That was the thought anyway. Okay, thanks.
I think that's a great idea, because if January is really the pivot point, like that's going to be the point at which we can either make, I mean, the decision is still open, right? Whether or not we work together with them.
Yeah.
Can we arrange to have a site tour in October?
Of the facility where they take the
recycling facility. I mean, I'd like to know what we're paying for.
It's awesome, you'll love it.
Yeah, that's, I don't know if you'll love it, but we can make that available to you.
Yes.
Great. And then they can show us what they do with all the
Yes.
recycling that they don't recycle. Okay. And then we'll know what it's worth.
Yeah.
And then I think that it's worth exploring alternatives, because there's no point in doing recycling just as sort of a vanity project. And I am 100% committed to recycling, but let's do it where it works and stop dithering around with things that don't work. So I look forward to the workshop. I'd love to do a site tour.
Also,
and yeah, so let's get on this.
Denise, anything? Or we're good?
I don't want to talk about trash anymore.
Okay.
Greg, I did want to ask you, I think Dan was tasked with researching all the non-registered short-term rentals or the new businesses coming in that didn't register. Did he find any?
No, what he's tasked in doing is that we've never explored, for example, the west side of Guff Boulevard for people that are renting out their condos and they should have a license. He's putting all that together. I can tell you, other than one property that was brought to my attention today as a result of the letter that was read earlier, we're not aware of any that are not registered with us right now on this side of the road. But you know, just to very briefly get into this, I don't want to talk too long about VRBOs, like you don't want to talk too long about trash. Is that per the new budget, the part-time code enforcement position, whether it winds up being that person or not, will be converted into full-time. And what I've decided is the new part-time to full-time, new full-time person, that person, in addition to doing other things, other duties as assigned, just like I have that responsibility, they're going to be the key liaison on vacation rentals. We have about 250 on this side of Gulf Boulevard now, and we're going to figure out soon how many we have on the beach side, because that's been never fully explored. And I've already had the part-time employee that we've had for the last month. You know, one of the requirements in the ordinance is that you have to give us, as part of your application process, the name of the 24-hour contact and that phone number, and that's what's tied to the sign that's, needs to be on the property. He's been going through, for example, and he's about 2/3 of the way through with this, calling every single one of those registered properties and confirming, number one, they make sure they answer the phone, and confirming the name that we have per their original application matches. Something was mentioned earlier about Homestead. We regularly go through the list, and he's doing that. That's one of his next things, is that we go through the list and check and make sure that nobody's, if you have a vacation rental, that you've not filed for Homestead. To my knowledge, I think we've had 2 since we've had the ordinance that we thought we caught. And of course, we just turned it over to the county, and that's not our thing. But I guess the point I'm making is that in addition to all the work that Mike Kelly particularly has done full-time, the focus of the new full-time person is not 100% of the time will be a focus on resolving issues with the vacation rentals that we have, within the scope of a code enforcement officer. Because in the budget process, we talked about there's limits to what a code enforcement person can do. The code enforcement person can't mandate, for example, that somebody produce an ID if it's a noise complaint that involves a deputy. But there's been focus on the vacation rentals based on the ordinance that y'all adopted that we work under now, and there'll be more focus when this part-time position is converted to full-time.
Okay. And then I know we had talked briefly before about raising fees.
But
And, the application fee and the renewal fee is woefully tiny. But I think when you and I talked about it, you said if we raise it there, then it's going to raise it for all these other businesses. Is that correct?
Well, under the code that we have right now, there's not a separate division or breakout for like vacation rentals. There's just rentals. If you came into our office today and you, whether you were renting short-term or long-term, you pay a $15 fee, like an administrative fee, and then annually you pay addition to that, you pay a $10 fee. That's been like that forever. What I talked to Cookie about this week is, and I told about this a while back, is that we get through the budget this month, I'm going to task the finance department to put together a detailed survey of what other cities are charging, not only for that, but for some other ridiculously low fees that we have. And so we may come back, in addition to vacation rentals, we'll present the commission with a list of, of what people are charging. And it's going to be all over the radar. I've seen $1,000, I've seen $600, I've seen $100, and ultimately, the commission can do what you want. But Randy, who's very educated in vacation rentals, will tell you, you do what you want within reason. There's cities that have been sued for going too far, but that probably have that ready for you, where we can give that to you sometime in October, where then y'all can decide as a group on what fees you want to adjust and how much you want to go to.
Okay. And then if you find one that's not registered, that's been operating as a short-term rental, what's the fine for not registered?
The way the city code is written under any land code violation is 3-tier. The first violation is $100, second violation is $300, the third violation is $500. We have one property in the Harbor Drive area that we've been dealing with for several months, and that individual's now up to the $500. And per a directive that I gave code enforcement this morning, that individual will get a $500 fine every week until he complies. But that's what the fine structure, and then that will be also something that Randy and I will be prepared to talk about. We also talk about fees. Is there is limits by state law of the max, but you can start at a higher number, and that's not that maybe what you need to look at is a base fine that's more than the minimum now. Try to move that up some to be, because vacation rentals in our city and the other city rent for a variety of prices, but we have vacation rentals, particularly the larger houses. The one I looked at today that is renting for $1,100 a night. So if I cite the guy every week for, pick a number, 100 or the 300, 500, and you do the math. But that's the exception, and I want to make that clear, is that the vacation rentals, like any other code enforcement thing, this has been true throughout my career, is the overwhelming majority of people will cooperate with you and abide by. But you need a big enough stick where when you run into the one that says, okay, just cite me, one other thing I'll tell you about this is that, and I apologize for getting into all this, but we're into it, is that Randy and I talked last week when I was traveling. We put out twice now an RFP for a special magistrate, and Randy's in the process of updating that, and he's going to put that out on the street again. And the benefit of the city having our own special magistrate, that's a layman's term, is the in-house judge that we would have that's neutral from the city, but we would be an attorney. And a good number of cities have it, particularly the smaller cities have it. Is if we cite somebody for really anything, but particularly in this, say code enforcement, all those cases go to the county, and then we get on a docket with a judge that has cases for rape, murder, you name it, come up with your own crime, and then they get us in there, and it's a land code case. We win 99% of the time, but it's just, so we're going to make another run at the special magistrate, and what will happen is when we get, hopefully I think we'll get an individual or firm that wants to be the city's special magistrate. It's like any other bid, we'll bring that to the commission. Y'all would approve who that is. And I can tell you the special magistrate, and we would not use the special magistrate for parking violations, but there's about 4 or 5 properties right now that are lingering that we spent a lot of time on. If we had a special magistrate can really get somebody's attention a lot quicker. So I think that would be a benefit to the city. Just we'll cross our fingers and hope that we get some work.
We've used special magistrates before,
Yeah.
in the past, so, yeah.
They're just more focused on, any city that works for, unlike no disrespect for judges, because they would just be more focused on the code enforcement arena, and not this.
Any other questions for Greg? Nope. Thank you, Greg. Commissioner Hannah, if you'd like, do you have a few comments today?
Yeah, real quick. Thanks to everybody for coming out tonight and expressing your comments. It's not that we haven't heard some of them before, but I did hear a lot of things that I really enjoyed. I agree, and we talked about a work session on this. I know we've had 5 of them anyway for the short-term rentals. But what I would like to have, and I said this the last time we talked about work sessions and workshops, would be to be able so that the people who maybe have not been following this earlier would really know what you can and what you can't do, what's true and what's not true as we know it. This group up here and the group before it, our hands are like this. We try to share that with you, okay? But if we could have, my ideal way would be to have our city attorney here, possibly a state representative would be wonderful to hear what's going on, and not look at a who gotcha, who done it scenario, but moreover, what can we do to take the situation and make it work for everybody? And I think that can happen. But we have to first be knowledgeable of what has been done, what can be done, and where the state has got our hands tied. because I know this lady and that gentleman have both been up to Tallahassee to try to do something about it in person. I know that this commission has written numerous letters in this situation, and I can't tell you it falls on deaf ears. But the only way that I see this thing coming about and working is the fact of keeping it in their face, letting them know we're unhappy, and letting them know what we're having to deal with. And I see a team effort between what we can do and what you bring to the table, and your spheres of influence, people that you know, who might be able to come up with some ideas. We can't be the only city that's ever run through this. This is a statewide deal. And I know your law firm has, Randy was talking about Holmes Beach, and I found that very interesting, and I'd like to learn more about that. I'm sure you guys can bring that.
I'm sure they'd like to talk about it.
Yeah, so, I mean, it can be done. At least we get a try. So that's my comment. Thank you.
I'm also going to reach out to some of our local property management, vacation rental property management companies like Plumlee, some of these big guys that are managing tons of Airbnbs on their, 1 and 2 and 3 day rentals. Because some of them that I've already talked to, they voice the same concerns. They don't want 30 people in one of their condos. They don't want 15 cars when there's only 2 parking spaces. And I want to put some pressure on them to start thinking about how they better manage the people they're putting in these rentals. And see if I make any movement in that direction.
Okay.
Works. It's better to sit on our hands.
I think Phil's idea of having a state rep around to explain the state's position on this would be very interesting. See what they have to say about it, because obviously there's a lot of talk about home rule up until the point at which they can take it away, and then they do. So I think it'd be a great idea if only there was somebody local who was our representative who we could have in here to speak to us about this matter. So if anybody knows anybody, let's call them to the next meeting and find out.
I'd really like to be at the work session.
Oh, that's what I meant by meeting, excuse me, the
Yeah,
work session.
Yeah, because then I think we're able to lay it out and maybe get something.
Yeah, I think it would be really a lot more helpful if somebody with a little more juice in Tallahassee than you and I have were here to explain both the situation to us and the situation to them when they return back to the big city.
I think they're going to be able to have their finger on the pulse and
Yeah.
be able to go back and say, hey, I've had a couple
This
of
is how
meetings
people
and
feel.
my folks aren't happy.
No, let's try it.
Or we might learn something from him, what they're saying, if we don't know.
Or her,
Okay,
whoever it may be.
Okay.
So I'll put out, some feelers, see if anybody wants to come to the next work study.
Well, I mean, and Greg has said this before. I mean, there's no putting the genie back in the bottle. There's no way to stop the rentals that are already here.
No.
We can't undo that. But we can demand better behavior. We can demand better performance by these property managers. And we can have a better community.
Are you suggesting it's not feasible to rezone in any way?
We have zoning.
Oh, we're not going to get into that. Okay, that's not what this is about, okay? All right, anything else everybody said on any other topic that you want to talk about at the moment? Hearing none, I just want to say that Monday nights from 5 to 6:30, I have Monday with the mayor in here. And if anyone would like to stop in and talk to me, you're more than welcome. The letter that was sent from Jerry, I sent to Representative DeSeglia and also Representative Shaney. I met with, there was a group of 8 of you, and I think most of you were in the audience, and I told you that I had just met with DeSeglia and Cheney at that time, and I told you that it was a very frustrating meeting, and it was all the mayors from the beaches, and it was just, they said leadership believes in property rights and your property rights. The exact wording was, have not been evaluated. So, I mean, I'm telling you how it is. I know you don't want to hear that. I'm not a negative person. I am up there fighting it all the time. We've been from the beginning. It's not my favorite issue, but it is what it is, and we are continuing to fight it. There's, I believe I told you this, that 1/4 of the over 400 cities in this state have lost their grandfather clause. We're not the only one. We're one of 2 on the beaches. Some cities like Largo, who never had a code in place, are having issues themselves because they don't even have a code that they can use. So with that, we are going to check into a few things. We're very happy that we're going to have our code enforcer full-time now, the second one, and he's everywhere. And with that, I'm going to go to agenda item 4, additions and deletions. Are there any tonight? Hearing none, I'm going to move on to the consent agenda. And I'm going to ask Nancy, would you please read this? Yes.
A, approval of the August 9th, 2022 regular city commission meeting minutes. B, rescheduling of the November 8th, 2022 regular city commission meeting to Wednesday, November 9th, 2022 due to a conflict with the Florida general election. C, confirming action taken during the September 7th, 2022 special city commission meeting. D, resolution number 2022-06, a resolution of the City Commission of the City of Indian Rocks Beach, Florida, calling for a general election for the purpose of electing at-large qualified candidates to fill the vacancies of 2 city commission seats for 2-year terms, establishing a candidate qualifying period, authorizing the city manager to enter into a contract with the Pinellas County Supervisor of Elections, establishing a polling place for the March 14th, 2023 election, authorizing the Pinellas County Supervisor of Elections to verify candidate petition cards and facilitate the election process. E, approval of the fiscal year 2022-23 law enforcement contract with the Pinellas County Sheriff's Office. F, authorizing the city manager to sign a 1-year agreement to renew property, casualty, workers' compensation, and flood insurance with the Public Risk Management Group Health Trust for fiscal year 2022-23. And G, authorizing the city manager to award bid number PWD 2022-01 and enter a contract with Jan Pro of Tampa Bay for the City of Indian Rocks Beach janitorial services.
Thank you, Nancy. With that, is there a motion?
Motion to approve the consent agenda as read.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you. We're going to move on to our public hearing. Before I do that, Jeff, I just want to make sure that I told you the right thing. When I met with the mayors and the representatives, what they had said was that the rights of the property owners that live there and were not vacation rentals had not been addressed, is the exact thing that was said to me. I just want to make sure I was clear on what I said. Thank you. Okay, we'll move on to our public hearing, 6A. It is considering an alcohol beverage use designation. And Nancy, would you please read that? And it's yes.
Considering a 4COP-SFS alcohol beverage use designation request, beer, wine, liquor by the drink for consumption on premises or in a sealed container meeting the requirements of Florida Statute 561.20 sub 2A4 for consumption on premises to Guilty Sea Indian Rocks LLC doing business as Guilty Sea Pub and Sports located at 301 Gulf Boulevard, Indian Rocks Beach, Florida, and legally described as Indian Rocks Beach, Block 9, lots 13 through 16, parcel number 12-30-14-58-009-030.
Thank you. Deanne, are you going to use
She needs to swear anybody. I have the quasi-judicial
Yes.
procedures.
Yes.
I think Randy goes a little quicker
Yes.
than I do, but
No, okay, fine.
I think he has it memorized a little better. But this is a quasi-judicial proceeding wherein the city commission acts in a quasi-judicial rather than a legislative capacity. At a quasi-judicial hearing, it is not the commission's function to make law, but rather apply law that has already been established. In the quasi-judicial hearing, the commission is required by law to make finding of fact based upon evidence presented at the hearing and apply those facts to previously established criteria contained in the Code of Ordinances in order to make a legal decision regarding the application before it. The board may only consider evidence at this hearing the law considers competent, substantial, and relevant to the issues. If competent, substantial, and relevant evidence at the hearing demonstrates the applicant has met the criteria established in the code, then the commission is required by law to find in favor of the applicant. By the same token, if the competent, substantial, and relevant evidence at the hearing demonstrates the applicant has failed to meet the criteria, the commission is required by law to find against the applicant. So this time I'll ask the board if anyone's had any ex parte communications with the applicant. No. Okay. Does any member of the board have a conflict of interest with this application? No. Okay. Then we move on to the swearing of the witnesses. Anyone that's going to provide testimony needs to stand and raise their right hand. You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Yes, I do.
Deanne will first read and present this agenda item, and then you'll be next. Okay?
Guilty Seas Indian Rocks LLC, doing business as Guilty Sea Pub and Sports, has requested a 4COP SFS, which is beer, wine, and liquor, for the establishment Guilty Sea Pub and Sports located at 301 Golf Boulevard. A background check by the Sheriff's Office on Mr. Loader came back with no responsive public records. And the City Commission has the power to grant his alcoholic beverage, and if granted, the city staff recommends repeated or intermittent nuisance activity and or unlawful noise levels originating from the establishment of the parking area may result in the revocation of the alcoholic beverage designation.
Excuse me, Sheriff, can you
Yes, ma'am.
go out there and tell them that they're a little too noisy?
Yes,
I
ma'am.
appreciate that.
And also the planning consultant has looked at this and it does meet the zoning code.
With that, I'm going to go out to our applicant, and you can tell us all about this agenda item.
Yeah, I mean, we are the Crabby Bowls family, and we're opening this particular restaurant and bar to give ourselves an opportunity to have some more sports things, which we don't currently have in any of our businesses that we have in Indian Rocks Beach. And I think we have more liquor licenses and bar and restaurant licenses than anybody else in the city of Indian Rocks Beach for a longer period of time than anybody else in the city of Indian Rocks Beach, with the exception of probably Pajanos. But we think that it's going to be a very nice asset to our business and to our community for us to be able to have that, since there are no real opportunities for people to go ahead and enjoy indoor sports viewing anywhere inside the city of Indian Rocks Beach at this point, and the scale that we want to put it together and do a very nice job.
Thank you. Is there anyone that has any questions for the applicant at this time?
Will I feel guilty going in?
No.
That was killer.
My children didn't particularly like, my children probably didn't like the name of the place, but, I'm older, I get to choose.
That's okay. Anyone else have any questions? Okay.
Will there be pool?
Yeah, we'll take one. And it just gives us the opportunity to do some things that we aren't able to do in the restaurant that we have now, because they have music. We're going to have music in this place, although we're going to, if we're having a private event or something like that, we may have it in there, but our goal is to really give ourselves something that we don't currently do. As, just like our bakery and just like our Mexican fast casual place, it's an opportunity for us to do something different. Just the same area that we love. We love the fact that we're able to do something to improve the building, so our neighbors should be happy. We're painting it now, so finally, but it really started to come together. My daughter Mia has done all the supervision of the construction work there, so she's very happy to finally be able to see it done. So we're not all pestering her, when's it going to be done, when's it going to be done. Although Paulie did mention to me, I should mention that Paulie did mention to me that Don House seemed to be promoting beef unfairly in the community with his comments earlier with the free steak dinner that somebody's getting around here, why couldn't there be a free fish dinner?
You okay? Good luck with that. Well, I'm gonna have you go ahead and have a seat for a second, and since it doesn't sound like anyone's got any questions for Matt, and I'm gonna, is there anything else that you wanna add, Dan? Okay, I'm gonna open the public comment. Is there anyone who would like to make a comment?
John Fansteel, 448 Hard Drive South. Very short. Matt has been such a huge asset to this community. His businesses have been, so I am totally in favor of that, and I appreciate all his efforts. Thanks.
Thank you, Joe. Anyone else? And Polly and Coffee, come up here and just introduce yourself so everybody knows who you are. Come on. Yeah, get up and just say hi. And, you know, just cleaning that place must have been like the biggest ordeal ever.
It was fantastic. Yeah. Mia Morales, Matt's daughter, Matt Jr.'s sister, Polly's cousin.
Yes.
But I am supervising the construction piece, so it is completely gutted down to the studs. Everything, plumbing, electrical, mechanical, 2 pool tables, dartboards, you know, touch tunes, ATM, the whole deal. And 26 TVs.
Wow.
So.
That's a question.
Yes.
Pinball?
Possibly. That's making a comeback, I hear. I've been told. So, it'll be great.
Paul Jenkins, Krabby Bill's Matt's nephew, and probably the happiest person besides us that this was occurring was Tim, the local health inspector, that we were taking it over and taking it down the block. He was ecstatic when he found out that we were taking it over. He said, "Wow, that's great." And he said, "I don't have to worry about that place anymore."
It's not working.
We don't have to, too.
Yeah, it was definitely a sight for, well, just a sight. Thank you.
Matt Jr., Krabby Bill's Matt's son. My sister is an angel. It was not fantastic. It was a mess. And so, yeah, we're just very happy to have it almost done, and a year later after starting that. So probably one of the longest and most difficult projects that we've done. So yeah, almost finished up, but thank you.
Anybody got any questions for Matt Jr. while he's standing up here?
When are you gonna open?
Yeah, that's a good
45 to 60 days.
Nice.
Somewhere in there.
Now, is that a Florida number or is that a real one?
I've said that number about 10 times already. So
Okay.
yeah, we'll see where it goes, but that's the target anyway.
Matt, do you want to add anything? Anything else? Matt, are you so proud of your kids and your nephew? I mean, I'm just sitting here, I know when they were
Honestly,
little.
I am so proud.
It
And
scares me.
You know, I told my dad before he passed that I would never sell this business or Krabby Bill's business in my lifetime, and that I couldn't guarantee what would happen in the next generation. But I will tell you, they're equally committed to staying here in our family business being founded here. And he and my daughter, my other daughter, Alicia, who's not with us tonight, she was busy. Grandchildren is important for me. But they are all very committed in trying to figure out what's the next generation, who will be the leaders in the next generation after they are done, to go ahead and make sure they carry on the business. And we're very honored to be here. We love this community. We're very honored, and I couldn't imagine my mother and father picking a better place for us to be able to have a long-term family business and relationship with the community. It's been a wonderful place to be.
You guys have been so.
Well, congratulations on Bon Appetit.
Yeah, thank you. We're very excited about that.
Yeah.
And two, you know, I said we're in the hospitality business. We're supposed to be nice to people. And it's wonderful because Peter and Carl, who've been there for 46 years, have become very good friends through the process. And they're very much anxious for our family to go ahead and participate with them and their long-term employees and even some of their children.
Nice.
Where the business will stay on. So thank you.
Any questions for Matt and anyone? Okay, I'm looking for a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the for COP SFS alcoholic beverage use designation request.
Is there a second?
I'll second
Any other comments from the maker or the second? Yes, sir.
Home uniform.
Just briefly, I was sworn in on July 2013, so I was sworn in a long time ago. Just a couple of comments. One, I want to publicly announce that the city of Indian Rocks Beach and Krabby Hills, we're still not planning on building a parking garage. So if you see that on Facebook, we've never had a parking garage planned, we're not building one. But on a serious note, and it's been alluded to a couple times, but officially on behalf of the city, we've recognized Matt and his family before, but they're just awesome people. You know, there's the 9 years that I've been here, whether it's people that we've helped out individually, receptions that we've had for employees, for just random things that we'll come up with on occasion. You know, we had to force Matt and his family to even charge us for anything. And I can tell you, after working in 3 other cities in the time that I've been in the business that I've been, that's unheard of. You know, a lot of people talk the talk, but I'll tell you, Matt and his family, you know, and I'm not getting free fish or steak out of this. Matt and his family, seriously, never say no. It's how can we help? And it's just like A2K and the homeowners. I get city managers that come up to me and say, like, how do y'all do all this stuff in Indian Rocks Beach? It's because we got people like A2K and the homeowners, and particularly the people in the family-run business that they have. This is an awesome thing, and I know particularly people that have been here for years, and most of y'all have been here a lot longer than I have. You don't always get that, and they're just awesome folks, and I want to thank you.
Well, I definitely thank you for your support, not only at the commission, but as a business owner that's in the community with you, and who was also building the garage with you that I didn't know about that, okay?
Congratulations.
I didn't get, I'm not getting very
You're taking kickbacks already, I'm telling you.
I want a piece.
But anyway, let's have the vote on this.
I already seconded.
Second, so we need a motion and a second. We're gonna do, are you gonna call or you wanna just?
Commissioner Hanna,
Certainly, yes.
Commissioner Vaughn,
I already said, yes, sure. Yes.
Mayor Hausberg,
Yes.
Mayor Kennedy.
Yes. Motion carries, thank you. Look forward, we'll be there on the first day it opens, when we find out when that exactly is. We'll be there, okay? Any other legislative matters? I see none. We have no work sessions tonight. Is there any other business to come before this board?
Well, when do we want to set the work session for this short-term rental?
I think that each of us should probably have a conversation with Greg first.
Okay.
Let's do that. Have a conversation with him once he gets some of the other ideas, and then we'll go from there, and he can bring it to us when we're going to have it. Okay? And with that, is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second. All in favor? Thank you.